Hey, welcome to Explore HVAC and Home Services, where we uncover stories, strategies, and secrets behind successful businesses. I'm your host, Pam Mashburn, and today we're joined by a special guest, someone I know really well, Christina Bennett. Welcome,
Hi,
Christina.
thanks for having me.
Hey, introduce yourself.
I am Christina Bennett. I work at Explore HVAC. I do sales and strategy.
Okay. So Christina's been with Explore Media for 11 years, and she is so smart and incredibly knowledgeable, especially about HVAC. We've been working in the HVAC industry for 4 years, but really in the last couple of years have really niched down into that market. And we've got about 28, 29
hmm
clients as of
And
today
growing.
and
Yeah.
growing. So one of the things that we learned at a conference not too long ago, we were talking to Marcus Sheridan. He's the author of Endless Customers. And if you haven't read that, you really need to. It's a great book. It's a New York Times bestseller. But one of the things he said was 50% of businesses are considering changing their marketing agency. 50%. So what that tells me is that there's some distrust, there's some misconceptions maybe about what marketing agencies do. And so what we did is being the engineer that I am, we had our marketing guru in the office take the transcripts, our sales transcripts, and found out what were the top 10 questions that were most asked by HVAC owners. So we're going to talk about those today. I just thought they were really interesting. So I think it's going to be a real treat for you guys. The first one, Christina, why am I invisible for searches that actually bring in customers? I'm not invisible for my own name, but I'm invisible for those things like HVAC near me and stuff. And so what do you talk about? And we're going to just have a discussion about that, but just tell me.
Yeah. So when I'm talking to HVAC owners and they say, I can't be found on search, the first thing I say is, well, what kind of marketing are you doing?
Mm.
And specifically, if it is search related, what kind of SEO are you investing in? We know that keywords and reviews and all of those things are what help you pop up organically. And so we start with a basic, what are you doing and where can we improve?
And so what is your usual response when you talk about SEO?
So not everyone knows exactly what SEO is.
It's like a little magic black box of
Mhm.
things that seem mysterious, isn't it?
Yes. So I try to make it so that they understand really that those keywords are what people are searching. And we want search, whether it's AI or Google, to see that search and then think of your business. So, how are some of the ways that we do that, right?
Right. And so when you do a competitive analysis for folks, that's one of the things that you look at, right? Is
Right.
keywords.
Yes. And especially just comparing them to their competitors and showing them a keyword map is really helpful because they can see that's why I keep seeing my competitor. They're showing up for the right terms like HVAC near me.
Right. I think it's always interesting on the SEO. People think just having the website means that you'll be found.
And they think that it includes SEO, but that's additional work than just a website build
And it's
and
actually,
maintenance.
yeah, and it's actually
Absolutely.
it
I
is
always tell people if we're looking at the line items in the foundations package, hey, a big chunk of this is your organic SEO. A lot of work has to go into it.
so can you get them found in the first month after you take them on and you start doing SEO work?
So with SEO specifically, no. And that's why we use a couple of other tactics in our toolbox to help be found quicker. But SEO is definitely something that takes time. I love your analogy. I might even let you tell it, but about going around the racetrack. I feel like, once you've been going a couple of times, you're going to start showing up more. But if you started yesterday, it's going to take a little while before you start showing in bigger search results.
Right. And your competitors may have been out there for 100 laps. So
Exactly.
Google trusts them more, right?
Yes.
So it is tricky and it's definitely, there's some science behind it, but there's also some finesse and art.
hmm
And one of the things about SEO is, and I struggle with this as a marketing agency owner, is finding the right talent because it's like a puzzle and they have to stay up on what Google cares about.
Right. And that's why a lot of people obviously can't do it themselves. You can't run an HVAC business full time and also fully understand SEO, unfortunately. So it
Mhm.
helps to have an expert.
So, number two question was, why isn't my social media doing anything for me? So, let's talk about that because I think social media has changed a lot over
I
the
think
last
it's
couple of
changed a
years.
lot
Yeah.
too, even really with AI search coming up and social media.
So, the second question is, why isn't my social media doing anything for me? And I think social media has changed a lot over the last couple of years. And it used to be one of those
Absolutely.
things where we're like, it's just kind of branding, top of the
Right.
funnel. But now we're seeing some different things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we know that people have their nose stuck down in their phones all the time. So it is great from a branding
Yeah.
perspective. But as we start to look at AI search, one of those higher authority things is going to be your social media page. So making sure that you're putting out really relevant and helpful content. I'd rather see a business post a couple times a week with really relevant content versus just posting every day and it being just
Boring.
boring.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and then we've also found that it is a pay to play model. So you've got to have some paid ads in there.
Yes.
But then if you're putting money into paid ads, is the organic as important with social? What's your
I
say to
think you've
that?
got to have a really good mix. Your organic social is really going to help with building trust. So if someone's considering your business and they come to your social media page, you want to show that you are active and that you are, one of the best options in your field by being knowledgeable and by showing customer reviews. And so I really think that's a great place to prove that you have clientele that trust you.
So there's this really, I'm going off script a little bit here, but there's this really fine line between being professional, being trusted in your social media, but then also there's also this other where there's just this real silly content that's coming out.
Mhm.
And it's really tough when we talk to business owners about this. Tell us what questions you're getting about the reels and how you're handling that with
Yeah.
yours.
Well, I'm starting to get more interest in video overall, and people want to do those reels. And we have to tell them that there is that fine line of having fun. And because that is going to what initially grabs people is that
Hmm.
engagement, doing those trends. That's what keeps people scrolling. But then when you've kind of fallen into their funnel, you're able to show more maybe promos or having some content that's really helpful to a homeowner. And so you want to have a really healthy mix of fun and professional.
I like the way you said that, healthy mix. And
Mhm.
fun doesn't have to be silly.
Right.
Fun can just be like, I saw a great video one of my clients did, and I loved it. I would love for everyone that's listening to this to do it, but they put some music to it and they just showed different texts and they said the top it said, what inspires you to come to work
I
every
love
day?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they showed like on their phones, like their family.
And it really humanizes the
Yes,
business.
it does. That especially if you're local.
Mhm.
And we really talked about leaning into local. You're doing a really good one with Hands here in
Yeah.
Montgomery. Talk about the lean into local promos that we're doing.
Yeah. So with Lean Into Local, we have had Hands Heating and Air partner with other local businesses once a month, and they can really play off of each other's audiences, which I love. And we're doing a giveaway. And so it creates that engagement. We're able to get leads that way. And
With new
with
customers, which is
new
great.
customers.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun. I think that the second month went better than the first month. And I think as we continue to do this consistently, and that's my biggest piece of advice to anyone listening today is that marketing is frequency. And so you've got to be seen all the time. And that's just, people don't want that to be the case. They want to be able to pay one time and have it immediately fixed and their marketing is perfect. And unfortunately, it's just an ongoing forever type of thing.
Well, it is. And it's always changing. And the other piece is that people think, I'm just going to run LSA,
Yes.
right? Or I'm just going to do this and that is going to or they do a lot of things and they're like, but this thing didn't bring in as many leads. So let's cut it
Hmm.
off. Whereas, like, especially with social media, it's bringing attention and branding. And so, what you want to do is you don't want somebody to call and say, I saw you on Google. What you want to hear is, I see you guys everywhere,
Hmm.
right? Isn't that what you want?
They're so familiar that they actually just Googled your name to call you rather than look for HVAC near me.
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And that's if you do enough branding and you stay frequent, then people will do that. But if they don't know you and they can't search for you directly.
Right.
So,
And that's the cheaper lead, right? Than having to pay
hmm
Google. So that's really what you want to get to. Okay, let's go to 3. Okay, is my current marketing company actually doing anything? Or are they just taking my money?
Well, it's easiest to answer that question once we've actually done a competitive analysis
Yeah.
and really ran an analysis of their website as well as a competitive analysis on search with their competitors. But the answer really will just depend on who they're using. And I can't answer that until I've done a deeper dive.
Well, and I think when I get asked these kind of questions, it's usually because they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes,
Right.
right? Like they don't know like that SEO, that that black box. They don't know what is going on behind there. And they just think that you're just taking money. So I would say that a marketing agency needs to always be educating their client on what's going on, not necessarily just to say, we got this many clicks, like we want results,
Right.
but what's going on behind the scenes to make sure the results are happening.
Exactly.
And if you're not meeting with your people regularly, that's a clear sign.
Yeah. And when I'm talking to someone and they say they haven't spoken to anyone in the agency in a couple of months, I'm so flabbergasted. I don't know how other agencies get away with that. But here at Explore HVAC, it's so important for us to meet with the client and have an ongoing conversation because it's a partnership. This is true. Digital marketing is a partnership between an agency who has all the right tools and a business that wants growth and has an agency that they can provide the things we need. Because if we're not physically there, we might not be able to get those photos. And so you have to be invested. And then when it comes to results, when we look at those results, we want to say, okay, is what we're seeing on our reporting dashboard reflective of the kind of business you're receiving? Because if it's not, we might need to tweak something.
Right. Well, and we're always checking transcripts to say, are these qualified
Mm.
leads? And then also like if we're showing a lot more leads coming in and you're not showing enough book jobs, then there's a disconnect there. And it may not and so I had a client one time and we said, hey, it looks like you're only booking like 10%. And he goes, what? And it turned out he had a part of his company was plumbing. And the plumbing, they were paying for all these leads, but they were having to turn them away because they were so booked out. And so we like turned the flow back so we weren't
Right.
wasting money. So it's really important that you're talking
Those
to your people.
another
Yeah.
reason why those conversations are staying in touch is so important.
Well, and when I was looking at this, one of the things that they said, one of the guys said that he didn't feel like he was getting the same people. Like he was getting, they were going through a lot of customer service people that they were talking to. So they didn't feel like they got that relationship.
Right.
And that's one of the things you and I have talked about this a lot that here at Explore HVAC, we will tell them, how do we do it differently with our reporting meetings?
Yeah. So, well, it always helps to have an agenda so that we can stay on track. And we always, at the beginning, want to ask, hey, is there anything specific that you want to talk about? Because you don't want to get so caught up in something we forget.
Right.
We want to utilize that time the best way possible.
So one of the things that, as just a side note to that, is that we also hear from prospective clients. I've had 3 or 4 different customer service reps at this place that I'm at right now. And one of the things that we have intentionally done, even though Christina is busy meeting new people, she stays in relationship with her current clients. And then she has a CSS person that handles the day to day and the communications and stuff. But we usually have 2 people on every call.
Yes. And it really, I think it's what sets us apart and what makes us better than our competition is it allows for me to look at more of a strategy than a day to day. So I'm always making sure that those tasks are getting done, but by not being the one that is, putting in all of the tasks for fulfillment, I'm able to then step back and look at the bigger picture and see where there might be room for improvement or for strategy changes.
Right, and you're always available. So
Always
you are and
available.
that's one of the great things, like and you've been with the company for 11 years,
Hmm.
so hopefully she's not going anywhere.
I'm not.
Okay, good. And, just as an aside, Explore Media is celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. So we really value loyalty, but also we also we're not churning through people. We're hiring
No.
experienced, smart people. We don't want to churn our employees because that is how we build the agency.
Yeah. And we know that there will always be reasons that people have to leave. But I think having a great culture at your company can help keep that turnover from happening. And
Absolutely.
being able to have someone else to lean on, aka 2 people on an account, makes it a little bit less stressful.
Right, and for that business owner,
Yeah.
that
They
HVAC
always
business
have
owner, they
have
always have someone. So, okay, let's go to number 4. How do I get more reviews, and does responding to them even matter? I was surprised by this question.
Yeah. I'm not just because they do ask me this question, but the real answer has become automating review generation. It's easy again when even your techs are out there in the field, they might have ran over and they're trying to get to that next job. And so while we would love for them to ask for that review because we know that reviews asked in person are always probably going to get some of the best reviews,
Mm,
we know that it's easily forgotten as they're getting payment and leaving to head to the next job. And so making sure that you have a backup, whether it's shooting a text once a job is closed, will really help increase those reviews. And responding to them absolutely is so important. Google likes to be fed. I'm sure you've talked about this on other
yeah,
podcasts, but that is just one of the key ways that you can feed Google is responding to your clients, whether it's positive or negative, letting them know that you read that and that you're planning on taking action if something was wrong.
right. And the newest algorithm for Google says that consistent reviews are beating people that have thousands of reviews, but not a lot of new ones. So keeping that again,
Yes.
consistency, which was what we talked about it.
Consistency and feeding Google constantly.
Yeah. So, and we work with all different kinds of house call pros, service titan, all the different ones to really set up kind of a gated review system.
Hmm.
Don't tell Google. Shh. But basically, if somebody would rate you under a 4 or 5, we would send them to the owner or a representative's inbox so that y'all could address that
Yeah.
before a bad review went out there.
Yeah. I
So
think a lot of our clients would say that's been a big game changer for them is our automated review process.
yeah, and the confidence of just having it go to everyone has been
Yes.
better. So, okay, well, number 5, what okay, and this is kind of loaded. What's actually going to get me to my next revenue number? Because we typically see people between like 800 to 1 million or 1 million to 2, and then they kind of hit this around 2 to 3 million, they really hit a barrier. Like
Yeah.
it's hard, like there's just you can go up and then you're kind of stagnant and you go up and you're kind of
Mhm.
stagnant. So when people ask you that, what are some of the things that you talk about?
Well, the first thing I say is that if your business is in big growth mode, while marketing is really important, your internal processes are as well. Being able to scale your business means that you have really great processes in place, and that might have nothing to do with your marketing agency. But as far as getting new customers, that's where your marketing agency kind of helps and comes in. And also, one of the important things I think that not everyone is doing. So, a lot of people might have ran Google ads, but what are you doing to love on people that you've already worked with and keeping clients so that the next time their AC breaks down, they don't call a competitor?
Right.
How do you get them to call you? And so there's a lot of, I mean, it's a loaded question.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. But what we tend to see is just as a quick overview is the first things that a person needs to do is their Google business profile, obviously.
Yes.
So if you're under that kind of 700, $800,000 mark, this is where you probably don't have a big database and you're just trying to get your name out there and getting referrals and people see your truck in the neighborhood, but you want to have that Google business profile on your website. And what we're telling people is Google's pretty crowded right now. So you really need, before you launch on spending a lot of money or time or frustration on Google ads and LSA, is get out there on social media so that you're known before needed.
Yes.
So we say do that kind of stuff. And then you're going to embark on that foundations of really investing in Google because it's still the behemoth of it,
Hmm.
and doing your SEO so that you get ranked up at the top. And then after that, that's when you talk about your reactivation of your
Database.
database. And so there's a lot of different ways that we do that. But the big thing that we talk about, I think Dan Antonelli, if y'all follow him, talks about is 5 Mile Famous.
Yes, I love that. And I think it's so important too. That means everyone within a 5 mile radius already knows your business name and is familiar with it because trust goes a long way, especially when you're letting someone inside your home. And
Yes.
so I want to know that I've seen you in my neighbors' homes.
Right. And I want to see your name and
Yeah,
know that it's a reputable name. It's not just somebody and they're going to show up and I'm going to feel uncomfortable.
right.
Right. And so trust is a big deal. The other thing too, I would say about growth is we work with a lot of companies. Like we have companies that are in that $800,000 range. And then we have companies that are in the $20 million range. And the strategies, one of the things that is as you grow, our ability to strategize with you also grows. And so I sit in on a lot of one of clients that are like, okay, we're going to take over a new territory.
Right.
And so I mean, I even got on with one and we looked at different locations, like office locations,
Hmm.
and said, okay, well, let's look at the demographics and we can do a demographic and competitor analysis of those new locations to say, where should your next growth be?
Right.
Is it territory A, territory B? And so we look at a lot of different factors. And so so we actually kind of act like a fractional,
CMO. Yeah.
CMO on your team. So that's one of the things that, while everyone I think in this business has packages, just like y'all have packages, the HVAC people have packages, we have those, but we also recognize that there has to be some customization
Right.
to be able to meet the needs of that HVAC owner. Okay, we're getting through this pretty quick. How about number 6? Why, when I Google my name, do I see my competitors? I heard that they might be bidding on my company name.
So they absolutely could be. That is definitely a tactic that lots of agencies use, whether or even if you're doing your own marketing. But if you have a search campaign going on Google, you can pay and try to show up when your competitors' names are searched. And so they'll never fall in the organic section necessarily searching your name, but it's that paid ads at the top,
The sponsored
the
ads.
sponsored ads. And so, yes, it's a dog eat dog world out there.
I
And
know.
if you can't beat them, join them. So,
Well, and so one of the things we do is we will buy
competitor
competitors'
names.
names.
Yeah.
But the key to that is you've got to make sure that when your sweet person that's answering the
Yep.
phone doesn't say, "Oh, let me give you the phone number for them."
Yes. We've learned, yes, through listening to phone calls for clients who we've done this competitor campaign for, we've definitely learned that people can be so sweet and give that phone number, but we recognize that there's an opportunity to say, hey, this is XYZ Heating and Cooling. I've got you on the phone right now. I'd love to get someone out there as soon as possible. And that would be the best way to handle that if you are running a competitor campaign. And it's, again, I have people ask me, from a moral perspective, is that wrong? And I tell them, no, it's not.
It's not. It's marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing, and they're doing it too. And so we're not trying to sabotage their business, but we are trying to get that phone call.
Right. Well, and would just be like if you had 2 billboards next to each other.
Yeah.
And they're still gonna choose, and they're still gonna
Hmm.
pick. Yeah, it's weird, and I know it feels kinda weird. It's also kind of expensive. So
Hmm.
it is not the first tactic we tell people to do.
Yes. And also, you would want to pay for your own name because
Right.
when your own name is going to be cheaper than your competitor's name for you. And you want to make sure that you're shown at the top when someone's searching you as well.
Right. You wanna take over the first page of Google.
Hmm.
You wanna be an LSA, you wanna be sponsored ads, you wanna be the MAP 3-pack, you wanna be
The
the
organic.
organic, so that there's nothing else there's no other choices.
Yes,
You are
and
the only
they
choice.
see you everywhere.
Right. Let's look at number 7. Is my website good enough and is it on the right platform? Because we've had people that said, I hate my website. And sometimes it's salvageable.
Yes.
Like we don't always recreate a website.
No, and we love when we don't have to because we know that's a huge investment for the HVAC owner.
And it takes time.
And it takes time, and you want to start getting results right away.
Right.
But we are honest with you. What we're looking at is because we can always make it look better, right?
Mhm.
But what is its ranking capabilities? And that is going to be based on, having a good platform such as like WordPress. I always tell people if you don't have a website and you need to start a GoDaddy website just so that you exist in the
presence, yeah.
beginning, that's great. But a GoDaddy website's not going to have the ranking capabilities. And especially as we start to talk about AI search and all of that
Oh gosh,
stuff.
yeah.
A WordPress website is going to be easier for that AI to crawl and understand and regurgitate that information back.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part is that conversion. I don't think everybody understands. There's really the front. They talk about the front end, the back end. So the front end is what your customers see. Is that going to make them hit the call button?
Right.
Is it going to make them fill out a form or do a chat widget? And then the back end is, can your agency or you make enough changes often enough and make it easy for Google to search and figure out all that, like put their little bots on it and find out all about you.
Right. And I tell people all the time, of course you want a good looking website and of course you want people on it. But from a search perspective, some people may never go to your website. So your website's got to be really Google friendly and really
Mhm.
AI search friendly. And so that's what we're looking at is
Right.
what is its search capabilities?
And to be honest, most people are not going to an HVAC website and spending the day
Mm-mm.
reading.
No,
They
they're
really
not. They're
aren't.
not reading your blogs. Google and AI are.
That's right. That's who's reading them.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go on to 8. Am I getting any return on what I'm spending on advertising? So I know that when we're looking at the line item in our P&L and we look at marketing and they take in a big gasp, right?
Yes.
Then they go, am I really getting a return? Because sometimes it's not easy. If you run
Right.
a magazine ad, it's really hard to measure
Right.
a direct lead off of it.
Yes. And Google is, in my opinion, probably the easiest place to, because they'll provide the phone number that it came from. So then you can go into your CRM system and actually see, did this convert into a dollar amount? So, but again, when it comes to HVAC, the highest intent leads are probably going to come through Google because they need help now.
Right. Well, because if you think about the customer journey, they see that Ted down the street, that he's got, an HVAC guy at his house. Then you start noticing some funny smell. And then you start looking up, what is this funny smell? And then you start and then Facebook hears you. They said they don't listen, but we know they do. And then Facebook starts running all of these reels and things about it. Or you go on TikTok and you're like, what is those smells that I'm smelling?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now all of a sudden it's getting hot in here. And I think I need some
Right.
help. So they're either going to look you up.
Right. But they may not have called when they just had that smell.
Exactly. But they're like, I remember that guy. What was the name of it? I'm going to look up AC repair near me. And oh, yeah, that's the van I saw.
Yes.
Right. That's the van I saw. Or their name started with something. And so Google is the last place that they go.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to make a decision before they got there. Or maybe they don't remember anything. But when they go in there, they're like,
yeah, I saw them. I saw their video.
Right. Or I've heard of them.
Yeah. Or I remember seeing their van outside my neighbor's home. And
or I saw their ad on the ballpark
yes.
at the high school game. They're local. I like them.
Yes.
So that is one of the things where people get a little confused on whether they're getting something or not. It's not everything is measurable to the T.
Right.
Although we had a really interesting podcast guest, and he put a different call tracking phone number on water bottles that he gave out at the high school baseball game.
Yeah.
And he actually got calls off of it.
I'm shocked because I do think that a water bottle would probably end up in the trash for me.
I know. So, I mean, he looks at everything to the minutia. Now, if he spent $4,000, I don't know what he spent, but let's say he spent $4,000 on water bottles and he only got 2 calls, would he quit doing the water bottles? No, because he knows that people are getting it. He knows that.
And somebody probably got one of those water bottles, was really appreciative of getting one of those water bottles, but then didn't have a HVAC issue for 6 months.
Exactly.
But they saw you on Facebook, you stayed in there, or they stayed in your pipeline technically. But by doing all of those things, by being on the water bottle, and then by being on social media, and then when they do have a need in that moment, showing up on Google, it just all is a part of the funnel.
It's all a part of the funnel. So the other thing I'll tell you is if you start really taking over I just had this happen where somebody said, I'm spending they're big business, a lot of revenue, millions and millions. They said, spending all this money and we just don't know if we're getting anything out of it because we're not really seeing the growth. And so I have to sometimes go, okay, sometimes you've got to spend more to grow.
Right.
Right. And so if you're only spending 3 to 4%, you may not be getting the growth that you're going to get with a 5 to 6%. Like everybody knows you. And now you've got to, and there's only so many people and there's only so much. You've got most of the pie. That last part of the pie is real expensive.
Exactly.
And you're going to have to push out and find another pie possibly. And that's expensive.
Right.
So you've got to look at it and really think through what makes sense. It's not just a line item.
Right.
So,
and I mean, marketing is an investment for a reason. It could pay off later. It doesn't have to pay off the same month that you purchased that advertising or paid for that advertising. I think people are quick to forget that, especially if they are looking at, when we're talking about cost per lead and now we're breaking down marketing in a different type of way. But there are so many things that we do as an agency that is truly an investment. Those social media ads, they might not need you in that moment, but if they've seen you enough, they're going to choose you when they have that time, and it will pay back itself in the future.
Well, we had a client that fired their agency and didn't come to us very quickly. And wow, did they ever see a dip?
Yes.
And that was also shocking to them.
It costs just to stay consistent.
It does. And so that was a real learning for them. Because they were like, well, if they're not really doing anything, I'm turning it off. I will put this in. The Explore HVAC will do better. So even though they turned it off, we turned it on and went robust and really helped them hit their year-end numbers. All right, so let's go to 9. Should I do paid ads and which kind actually pays off? So I think they're talking about LSA, local service ads or pay-per-click, and like Facebook ads. And so let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing right now on that.
Yeah, well, when we take on a client, whether they've, invested in marketing before or not, but maybe they haven't in a little while, we know that that SEO is going to take time. And so, yes, I think there's a place for paid ads because it helps you kind of pop up to the top in the beginning without having to wait so long for organic to start
Right.
really, gaining traction. So the answer is yes. And then the hope is if you're doing the full funnel, you'll be able to, as your SEO increases your authority and you start showing up more at the top organically, you might be able to back off some of those,
Mm.
ads. However, we also know that there are people who are just lazy and they're never going to go past whatever the very top is. So I always think it's important to have some kind of visibility up at the top in that paid ads section.
And I don't even know sometimes if it's lazy or if it's just panicked,
Yes.
because a lot of those are panicked people that are, I've got guests coming, my AC's out,
I
I've
don't
got
have
to,
time to deal with this.
right. And so they look good, let's go.
Yes.
Right. And I find that we've started measuring a KPI with our clients now about how many new customers have you been getting.
Yeah. Because a lot of new customers come through those local service ads.
Exactly. So we've seen a direct proportion to
Mhm.
that. The other thing too, I'd say is like with pay per click, it's not that expensive to get into it to get leads.
Right.
And one of the things that we've seen with Facebook is you can get leads, but it's a big initial investment. Like
Yes.
you're talking 3 to 4,000 a month to really pull in the kind of leads that you would get with
Yeah.
Google.
And if you want true leads from pay per click or Facebook, got to run a great promo.
That's right. And so that's one of the reasons why at Explore HVAC, we don't guarantee your results because we can't guarantee your promo,
Yeah.
but we can predict pretty well. If you're running a really great HVAC tune up, we can pretty much tell you how many you're going to get.
Yeah. Our job is to try to help you get into the door.
Right.
And then it's really the business owner from there that is making those sales. So I always try to also set expectations and let people know, like, hey, we're trying to get you in as many doors as possible.
Mhm.
And it's just a known fact that if you have a great promo, something that's almost too, like, this is too good to be true, then that's a great way to get your foot in that door. And then
Right.
you take the opportunity to sell them.
Right. And then on the flip side of that, during your busy season, we don't want to do a really great promo.
Right. We
'Cause
just
you
want to
don't
make
wanna
sure you're
yeah,
showing up at the top. I really like pay per click when people do run a good promo. For local service ads, it really just is being those first two hits at the very top with that call button. So they both serve an important purpose, I think.
yeah, they do. All right. Number 10. This is really asked a lot, actually. Do I have to lock into a long contract? And can I trust you not to burn me? Because we asked for a 12-month contract.
We do,
Yeah.
yes. I get that question a lot, and especially as we've grown as an agency, it's a lot easier because I've have this confidence. I see us make differences in HVAC businesses all the time, so it's a lot easier to share that this is a partnership. We are here to do the heavy lifting, but you have to be a part of that partnership. You have to be in communication with us. You're going to have to be able to provide us photos if we need to get your business license. You need to be available to get that to us.
Right.
And so the contract is really just more so because we hope to have you way longer than a year. We hope
Mhm.
to have you as a lifetime
And
client.
most of our clients are.
And most of them are. We have a very small percentage that turn year over year.
Yeah, I think it's less than 5%.
Yeah. And
So,
something that I know we're really proud of. So, but yes, it is a partnership. And so we want to know that you're committed to us the same way that we are committed to bringing you results. And
mhm.
so, yep. But people who sign 2-year contracts and all of that, I'm always really surprised that they got themselves into something like that. A year is a perfect amount of time to see, some good things happening in your marketing.
Right, right. And
Enough wins to keep you too. So,
right. Well, and it takes a little while for us to really get to know you and your business.
yeah.
You know, the reason we don't do 6-month contracts is because the first 3 months is really the hardest time
Hmm.
because we're getting everything transferred over. We're making sure everything is optimized properly. We find that a lot of Google business profiles are inaccurate.
Yeah.
Things are missing off websites that just haven't had a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
And so
And not matching like hours on the website with your Google business profile. And
exactly. It's all of those kind of things. And so there is a lot of upfront work that happens in those
yes.
first 3 months. And to be honest, I don't know how it would be exhausting to change over your marketing
hmm
agency in 6 months.
Yeah.
It would be exhausting. So, but we do,
Anyone who's changed marketing agencies knows. No.
I know, but we have really perfected the onboarding process
Yes.
to a 4-week process. And really, we've gotten it pretty smooth.
Yes. It's been such a great thing to have someone in a role whose whole job is making sure that they're onboarded properly because it really sets you up for success in the
Right.
beginning. And again, you're right. Like marketing, we might be able to provide leads for you, but you're looking for something like strength organically so that maybe you don't have to spend so much on ads in the future. And that all takes time. And
Ex-
when people say it takes, a year, I say it shouldn't take that long.
No.
It shouldn't take that long, but you can't expect a crazy amount of leads in the first 3 months of your investment. That's really when it starts to work.
Well, it's interesting because, I love watching that ramp up,
Mhm.
especially if we like introduce a new location or something like that, watching that, few leads, more leads, and then it's like the gate just opens up. It's
Yes.
like the floodgates, and
And
it's really
that's
fun to watch.
again, Google or AI seeing trust signals with your
Hmm.
business. And if you've not been investing in showing trust signals, then you're just not going to be the one that they recommend. And that doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
So,
Trust is not built overnight. That's right. There was one other question, and I know we said 10, but I'm gonna just talk about this a minute. And it just says, has search changed? And are people even using Google anymore?
I get asked that a lot, especially if I'm going over someone's competitive analysis and they want to learn more about Explore HVAC and I start talking about the Google ads and social media, they say, stop, stop, stop. What about AI? And so what we say and what we know right now is you need to be investing in those high authority content places that AI is looking to. And surprisingly, Google Business Profile is one of the first places it looks.
You're right.
So whether people are coming to Google or not, that Google business profile is still incredibly important because it is a high trusted authority for AI.
Right. Especially with the reviews in it.
Yes.
Because Facebook you can recommend, but it doesn't really have reviews. And
Yes.
so,
I remember when people would leave Facebook reviews back in the day and
yeah,
ask for Facebook reviews. And I think most people just know that they can go to Google and see a lot of reviews in one
right,
place. And
right.
so it really has become the new Yellow Pages. Your Google business profile is Yellow Pages in the 90s.
It is. That's a good way to put it. And then
Everyone has one. You got to have
you got to
one.
have,
Yeah.
and if you don't, they create one for you.
Yeah. And
Which
then
is
you don't even own it and you don't say anything about it. And who knows what it says, right? Because
Yeah.
I think people can go on and make suggestions.
Right.
So
Yeah.
owning your Google business profile, if no one takes anything else away, own your Google business profile and
Right.
take care of it.
Yeah. And it doesn't cost anything.
Nope.
So you should. And I totally with Christina. There's other signals that are going on out there with make sure your Yelp looks good.
Yep. That's a high authority.
Yeah. Make sure you're getting out there on social media.
Hmm.
That was not a few years ago. That was not one of our high priorities. And
No.
it has really shifted and become much more important.
Yeah. And there's even ways to do a funnel approach on social media now.
Yeah. It's very effective.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I think these have been some really good questions. Again, I think the takeaway is consistency, consistency, consistency. And so
Frequency, frequency, frequency.
that's right. And if you are not, even if you're not with Explore HVAC, these are great things to be thinking about. And hopefully we've answered them for you as you're researching what you're doing with your marketing. But we would love to have you at Explore HVAC. Tell them how they can contact you.
Yeah. So you can go to explorehvac.com. You can request a competitive analysis on our website. You could shoot me an email at christina@exploremedia.com. And we would just love to do a competitive analysis and let you know if we think that there's a way that we can help you grow your business.
Yeah. And we also just added the AI visibility
Yes.
analysis out there. So you should go check that out. It's really cool. And you can immediately download the report and see how you're ranking in
Yeah.
AI. So, well, thank you guys so much for attending. Please follow us, subscribe, and thanks again, Christina, for joining us. I think there was some really good, valuable insight here. To our listeners, hey, thanks for tuning in. Again, subscribe for more insights, stories, and tips from leaders in HVAC and home services. But until next time, keep learning, keep growing and keep exploring.